Within the past year or so, my feed has been absolutely taken over by run clubs, and not because they're a fun way to stay in shape or anything, but because they've seemed to become the hot new way to date. And trust me, I've been to a couple of these, and people do not play games. I'm talking full makeup, matching workout set, every dude is shirtless. It's a trip. We've reached a point now where a lot of clubs just straight up market themselves as places to flirt. And being the curious George that I am, I wanted to understand why. Because run clubs have been around for forever, but all of a sudden they've just become this staple in the dating community. And I know it's not just because people like to run. A lot of the people I've met at these, including myself, hadn't run since high school. I was just there to check out what all the craze was about. But as I dug deeper, I began to notice, dare I say, a pattern emerging. A single principle that all run clubs seem to be founded upon, that being a rejection of online dating. People fucking hate dating apps. They've always been pretty controversial, but lately the public perception seems to be entirely negative. I literally cannot remember the last time I heard anyone say anything positive about them. Run clubs, and for that matter all social mixers, are just taking advantage of this backlash. Just check out the promo material for any quasi-romantic event. It's probably something like, "You poor fool, quit swiping and come touch grass." So we're clearly not too hot on dating apps right now, but that raises the question why? Because from a surface level, online dating's failure is surprising. I mean, never before could one filter through hundreds of potential suitors all from your living room. Which kinda sounds nice, right? Like, why not vet them in advance? Why waste time going on dates with people you find out in the first 5 minutes you're incompatible with? On paper, there's so many great things about dating apps, so why do we hate them so much? There's a lot of answers to that question. Choice fatigue, people ghosting all the time, how surface level it is, all of which are completely valid complaints. But what if I told you that the main reason is because of this guy, our primordial lizard brain? I'm gonna call him Todd. Todd's job is to keep you alive. He regulates your emotions, runs your basic functions, and for millennia, has made sure you reproduce. Because of that, he has a huge say in what we find attractive. And for most of human history, that was fine. We were naked cave people, we didn't have time for love letters. But obviously times have changed. These days, most of us aren't fighting for basic survival. Our problems are more high level and deal with purpose and stuff like that. But you know who hasn't changed? Todd. Evolution takes thousands of years, so while our environment might have changed dramatically, our brains are still running this caveman software. Which brings us back to dating apps, because for millennia, if someone left your village or something, like bye, you're never seeing them again. But nowadays, we're all connected all the time, which obviously has its benefits, but not for Todd. Dating apps fundamentally clash with the way he's wired, and since he doesn't like them, that means that deep down, we don't like them either. Not convinced? Let me show you. Stacy and Kermit the Frog are two young singles looking for love. After some prodding from friends, they finally relented and signed up for a dating app. They both swipe for a while before landing on each other's profiles. They like what they see and they match. Here's the first interaction between these potential new lovers. Kermit: "Hey cutie." Stacy: "Hi. How was your day?" "Boring. I was stuck in meetings all day." "Ah, that sucks. My day was boring too." "So what do you usually do for fun outside of work?" And that's it. The conversation fizzles and they never speak again. In this scenario, both sides walk away unsatisfied. Kermit's upset that he got ghosted, and Stacy's upset that she's probably had the same boring-ass conversation like 50 times in a row now. So who's really at fault here? Neither. Because this conversation is boring, but not for the reasons you might think. Hollywood has convinced us that the best way to flirt is to just throw a ton of witty one-liners at them. But I want you to recall the last time you saw someone get hit on in public, because I'm willing to bet you it went something like this. Guy approaches girl, says hi, asks how her day was. She responds, then asks him how his was. He answers, then comments on her dress, etc. Notice anything peculiar about that conversation? Noticeably that it's the same damn one that Kermit and Stacy had online? The only difference is that this one didn't fizzle out. And it's because, as the old proverb goes, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. These two might be saying the exact same things, but in person you can laugh, you can smile, you can change your tone of voice, all of which express meaning in what we're saying. You probably heard of Albert Mehrabian's now famous study that only about 7% of communication comes from words alone. The rest comes from tone of voice and body language. And when you take those away, like dating apps do, you strip away the intent, the emotion, and most importantly, the confidence. Imagine you're a hunter-gatherer in the early years of Homo sapiens. You're no longer the top of the food chain, and being eaten by a lion is a very real possibility. Everyday survival hinges on those around you watching your back. In this scenario, who are you going to shack up with? The one who has the best hair or sings the best? No, you're going with the one that can pull their weight and provide for the tribe. Your ass was not surviving winter if you hung out with the wrong people. This explains why we value confidence so much in our partners. It implies stability and competence. It signals to Todd that they would be an advantageous partner, and as a result consistently ranks as one of the most attractive traits across all cultures and genders. But therein lies the problem. The things that we actually care about, loyalty, respect, confidence, can't be shown through 6 photos and a Spotify anthem. So instead, apps reduce us to the easiest thing Todd can process: how hot they are. It's no secret that dating apps are shallow. A popular OkCupid study back in 2011 found women rated 80% of men on the platform as below average attractiveness, meaning the remaining survivors, the top 20%, receive the lion's share of attention. But look around you. This is obviously not the case in the real world. If it was, we wouldn't have this meme with a famous beautiful woman, medium ugly dude combo. It just wouldn't happen. Which means that these women are with these guys for a reason other than their looks. And yeah, some of them are probably less wholesome, but in most cases it's probably just because he makes her feel secure, loved, and comfortable, which in the end is what we're all really searching for. This problem is specific to the medium. So long as we're contained to profile pictures and instant messaging, we're going to have boring-ass shallow conversations where we just care how hot they are. And granted, some match companies are trying to patch these gaps with features like voice prompts and video calls, which do add some personality. And they're better than nothing, but in the end, they'll always just be poor, shallow replacements for real IRL communication. But okay. So far, all of this has been pretty straightforward. We hate swiping, ghosting sucks, we're all on board there. But that's about to change, because there's a second big problem with dating apps. They're just too good at their jobs. They're designed to give you exactly what you ask for, even though you have no idea what you want. From my experience, people usually fall into one of 2 camps when it comes to dating. The first is what I'll call the vibe group. These people don't overthink love, they just listen to their hearts, and if it feels good, they go for it. It's impulsive and messy, but also kind of wholesome. Romeo and Juliet were vibe lovers, literally the most incompatible couple in literature, but alas, they just couldn't ignore their feelings. This is Todd in his purest form. The vibe group completely lets him take the wheel, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. He's quick, instinctual, and has kept us alive for millennia. The only problem is that he's not really great at planning ahead. Not many of us end up marrying our high school sweetheart. It turns out when you don't consider things like principles and values, you might not actually be so compatible after all. But on the other end of the spectrum, you've got the philosophers. This camp lives entirely in their own heads. They loathe sharing their brain with Todd and try to drown him out completely. They'll spend hours thinking about the one, making pros and cons lists, and maybe even starting a dating podcast so the world knows their exact type. They think if they analyze enough traits, they can solve for love like an equation. And I can say all this because I'm one of them, minus the podcast part. I did my homework. I knew what my dream girl looked like, what she valued, what her hobbies were, what she did for work. I made sure I knew everything about her so that when I saw her, I would know it. But in doing so, I ruined my life. Okay, that's a little dramatic, but I was robbing myself of what makes dating exciting. When you remove all the uncertainty from love, you also take away the spark. Romantic tension exists entirely in the not knowing. Numerous studies have shown that we're actually more attracted to people when we don't know if they like us back. As contradictory as it might sound, uncertainty is one of love's biggest accelerators. And yet here we have dating apps, entirely designed to eliminate that. Dating apps are legitimately trying to do you a service. You can filter by dozens of traits, flag your intentions, and narrow it down to your exact type. In theory, the perfect system. But after all this, you end up with the worst possible outcome, getting exactly what you wanted and nothing more. I can't tell you how many times I've met someone who on paper should have been perfect for me. They checked every single box, but the chemistry just wasn't there. And considering how Hallmark built an entire empire around this exact plotline, I'm obviously not alone here. This is a universal sentiment. Obviously, as we grow up, we figure out what's important to us in a partner, and that's important. Relationships can't survive on butterflies alone. But reason can only take us so far. As much as some of us would like to believe we can reverse engineer love, there's just some parts of it that are out of reach. Maybe maturity is learning not to rely on or repress Todd, but to live with him in harmony. I also want to offer an olive branch here so this video isn't just me dunking on dating apps the entire time. Because truthfully, I don't think dating apps are inherently bad. They've already become the main way most couples today meet. Obviously, some people are making them work. If you push past the boring conversations and algorithms and everything and get to the actual date, the hard part's over. How you met doesn't really matter at that point. So maybe dating apps aren't broken. They're just an awkward middleman between us and what we're wired to want. But who knows, at the rate that technology advances these days, dating apps could be completely different in the future. Thanks everyone who made it this far in the video. If you enjoyed it, you should totally like, comment, subscribe, the usual, all those things. But anyways guys, have a great day and until next time.